Matthew chapter 8 finds Jesus and his disciples near the end of a long day. Jesus had been teaching and healing people from the countryside, so he told his disciples to get into the boat and cross the Sea of Galilee. While they were on their way across the Sea of Galilee, a storm rose. It was a violent storm. It came on them quickly. The boat was beginning to take on water. The disciples were busy all over the boat. In life, we are not promised freedom from storms. We will face trials and tribulations. We will face struggles, whether we're Christians, whether we're Islam, whether we're atheist, no matter what stripe of religion we're from. We know that life will give us emergencies. Life will bring crisis and stress and pain. We're facing that right now in the midst of this coronavirus as it spreads. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of questioning as to what's going to happen next, how long this is going to go on. The Bible does not promise us freedom from pain and suffering. It does not promise us freedom from emergencies and crises. The disciples scrambled all over that boat. Some of them grabbed buckets to try and throw the water over the side of the boat. They tried to bail as fast as they could. Others tried to deal with the rigging and the sails to get it under control. Others tried to steer the boat. Perhaps a few more even grabbed an oar or a board and tried to row the boat as quickly as they could back to the shore. In the midst of all of this, they came across Jesus sleeping in the boat. When they saw Jesus sleeping, they quickly awakened him. And they said, "Lord, we perish." Jesus looked around at the scene. He felt the wind and the rain. He saw the waves overtaking the boat and the furious activity happening all around him. One by one, the disciples stop and they look at Jesus. He says, "O ye of little faith." And he turns and he looks out at the sea and he looks out at the wind and the waves. He raises his hands up and he says, "Peace, be still." Jesus knew that there would be emergencies and crises in life. What the disciples learned that day was that in any emergency, we're always with Jesus. He will be with us in the storm. He will be with us in times of crisis. Jesus is with us now. The Bible never promised that we would be without sickness and disease. In fact, Leviticus chapter 13 is dedicated to telling people about the diseases that they would encounter and what they should do when they got one of those diseases, if they contracted leprosy or one of the many other things they would come in contact with. The Bible made provision for how to deal with illnesses and sicknesses and diseases that came along. We have an illness that has swept our country and our world, and the Bible wants us to be safe. The Bible wants us to take the measures that we need to take now in order to keep this disease from spreading throughout all of our country and throughout this world. The thing to remember is this, that even though we face crisis, and even though we face trial and uncertainty, Jesus is with us through it all. And one day, this crisis will come to an end. One day, the words "peace, be still" will be said to this disease, and we will be able to, hopefully, return to life. My prayer is that we'll return to life with lessons learned about what's truly valuable and what's truly necessary. There will be crisis in this life, but Jesus is with us in these times of trial. We have some good news along the lines of this case. Here in the state of Hawaii, there are now 22 confirmed or pending positive cases of coronavirus. The good news, none of those 22 cases are community spread. Another piece of good news is that the last full day that we have statistics for, March 10th, across the United States there were fewer confirmed cases than the day before. This is the first time this has been the case in several days. And so we see that the efforts that are being undertaken right now may be starting to have an effect. And so we ask, stay with these measures that have been taken. If you are an older American, if you have underlying health conditions like heart, lung problems, or diabetes, be very, very careful about being around other people. And even if you don't have one of those conditions, or if you are younger, make sure that you're taking precautions, not just for you, but for other people as well, because we want to get through this as quickly as we can. My message is this: we will get through. Jesus is with us. That's not a promise that we'll never be sick. It's not a promise that we'll never face struggle and trial. It is a promise that he will be with us and we will make it through together.